Hello, this is Rob Pike, back with part two of the series, God, Science, or Both? Who Can We Trust? There are several 20th century scientists who contributed to the idea that the universe that we know resulted from a Big Bang some 13.5 to 14 billion years ago. Just exactly who is credited with this discovery is disputed, but scientists generally agree that this event is the event that began our universe. Thousands of years before this discovery, the Bible made statements which show that the universe had a beginning that included the expansion of all matter, space, and time, spoken of as the Big Bang Theory. But there are many who say that the 7 days of creation were 7 24-hour days. So my question to you today is this: which one of these does the Bible support? Let's talk about that. Genesis 1 tells us that day one of the creation event encompassed all of the events described in the first verses of the Bible. Then in Genesis 1:8, we find that it states that the second day of creation was about to begin. So, what is the length of that day? Well, in order to answer that question, we have to go back to the definition of the word day. Since the Bible was written in Hebrew, we must look at the Hebrew language. If we look up the word day in Hebrew, we find it is the word yom. We can find the definition of this in Strong's dictionary, and as such, we find that the word has multiple meanings that can either mean a 24-hour day or a long period of time signifying some kind of an event. We also know that this word in general terms is used in such a way as this: the day of the horse and buggy, for example. In a paper originally published in the French Royal Astronomical Society in 1927, Jesuit priest and scientist Georges Lemaitre proposed the idea of a Big Bang creation event. Following this, many scientists took up that banner and did more research on the subject, and it eventually became the accepted theory that the universe originated from a Big Bang billions of years ago, and that all matter, space, and time originated from that beginning and has continued to expand to this day. But these scientists were not the first to purport that there was an expanding universe, because it was written in the Bible many centuries ago. Notice the following passages. Let's begin by reading Isaiah 42:5. It says, "Thus says the Lord God, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and its offspring, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk in it." And then Isaiah 51:13, it says, "That you have forgotten the Lord your Maker, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth." And then Jeremiah 10:12, it says, "It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by its wisdom, and by his understanding he has stretched out the heavens." These words "stretched out" are not just in these verses by accident. It was a purposeful process that God used in the creation of the universe. God later inspired his Bible writers to state the following with regard to the one who created this phenomenon when it was written in Colossians 1:16, "For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him." Yes, the Bible even states that this process was still ongoing when God inspired his prophet Isaiah to write the following in Isaiah 40:22. Notice the choice of words recorded by the prophet. It says, "It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in." Notice that this passage emphasizes that this process of stretching and spreading was recorded as an ongoing process, and that long before it was known by those primitive scientists that the earth was round, the Bible stated so. In his book, The Creator and the Cosmos, How Scientific Discoveries Reveal God, astrophysicist Hugh Ross stated the following: This simultaneously finished and ongoing aspect of cosmic stretching is identical to the Big Bang concept of cosmic expansion. According to this concept, all the physics, specifically the laws, constants, and equations of physics, are instantly created, designed, and finished at the Big Bang creation event, so as to guarantee an ongoing continual expansion of the universe at exactly the right rates with respect to time so that physical life will be possible. This biblical claim for simultaneously finished and ongoing acts of creation, incidentally, is not just limited to the universe expansion. The same claim is made for God laying the earth's foundations. This is from Isaiah 51:13 and Zechariah 12:1. This is consistent with the geophysical discovery that certain long-lived radiometric elements were placed into the Earth's crust a little more than 4 billion years ago in just the right quantity so as to guarantee the continual building of continents. This is from Hugh Ross's book, The Creator and the Cosmos. Now, while we use the term Big Bang, we must also note that this term does not signify the detonation of some kind of a bomb as exploding as some people would think. No, such a detonation only produces destruction. But what the Big Bang produced in the beginning of the universe was the opposite of this. In this we find a controlled release of all things created: energy, matter, space, and time. But we must ask the question, why then is it called a Big Bang if this truly was a controlled release? Well, as you might guess, it is because the one who coined the expression in the mid-50s did not believe that it entailed any effort from an intelligent being. In other words, he was an atheist and wanted to make sure that people did not get the idea that he believed in a God of the universe. However, we find that as more and more is discovered about this event, termed the Big Bang, we find that the opposite is true. What is happening is that more and more scientists are determining that the weight of the evidence confirms that instead of being labeled as a Big Bang, it is instead a controlled release of energy, matter, space, and time that is only explainable by the existence of an intelligent creator. Back in 1992, a team of astrophysicists made a report stating the latest findings from the Cosmic Background Explorer satellite, which is called COBE. And that revealed a stunning confirmation of the hot Big Bang event. This was touted by Stephen Hawking as the most important discovery of the century. Michael Turner, an astrophysicist from the University of Chicago Fermilab, stated that this discovery was unbelievably important, adding that the significance of this cannot be overstated. He said they have found the holy grail of cosmology. And what's interesting about this from the perspective of this series is that this event has caused more and more scientists to realize that the creation of the universe is not an accident, but is providing resounding evidence of an intelligent source of that creation. Now, all of this brings us to the idea that the young creationists have stated that all of God's creation occurred in just 6 24-hour days. But the problem with this is that when you consider the facts we are about to show, there's no way to support it scientifically. As we mentioned earlier, the Hebrew term for the word day is yom, which just can easily represent epochs of time. This means that the day mentioned in the Bible is supported by scientists. Almost 100 years ago, sometime around 1929, Edwin Hubble discovered that the universe is expanding, with galaxies moving away from each other at a velocity given by a mathematical expression which he discovered known as Hubble's law. This calculation was proven accurate to successfully measure the rate of expansion. With that measurement, it was not complicated to produce a ballpark figure for when the universe began. That profound time measurement was labeled by the name of the founder, Hubble time. With this scientifically sound discovery, the young Earth creationists had no leg to stand on, so to speak. Let me illustrate this fact with a few points. First of all, just by using the first 2 chapters of Genesis, we can prove that the creative days had to be longer than 24 hours. Let's take a look at day 6, for example. In Genesis 1:27, we find that it states that during this day, God created both man and woman. But then when you look in the second chapter of Genesis, we find that several things happen. First of all, man was created outside of Eden, then he was placed inside. God had him to work to learn the creation, then he named all the birds and mammals. Then God put Adam into a deep sleep, took his rib, and built another human being for Adam, so that when he woke up, there was this beautiful gift called Eve. Thus, we find that the Bible scholars have concluded that this all could not have happened in a 24-hour period, but likely took weeks, months, possibly even years for all of this to occur. Therefore, this day 6 must have been more than a 24-hour day. It must have been an epic or a long period of time. Second, I want you to think about what happens when we stand out at night and gaze up at the stars. We know from science that some of these, such as the Andromeda Galaxy, is 2.5 million light years away. That means it takes 2.5 million years for the light to get to us. But Genesis 1:14 through 19 states that it was created on day 4. This means that it is impossible that it could have been created in a 24-hour day. If this happened in a 24-hour day, that means that God had to create everything in the universe with multiple billions of different velocities for the speed of light, depending on how far away the celestial object is from Earth, so it could be visible to Adam when he was created on day 6. Thus, we would need to ignore all of the finely tuned physical constants of the universe, which have been proven by science. To the contrary, we find that the realization that the creation of the Earth occurred in epic periods of time, which could be labeled as days, then we find harmony between science and the Bible. I'm sure that you have heard it stated that we are extremely lucky to be living in the time that we're living in. This is because there have been more discoveries in just about every area of science that we can think of. When we consider the universe, we see that no other generation has seen the measuring of the cosmos. Yes, we have to realize that in previous generations, the universe was basically a profound mystery. But if we engage in a study of the universe today, we find that in this generation, we can see how many mysteries have been solved by science. And more what we are seeing is the continuing to confirm the amazing creative attributes of a loving God. Astronomy has provided us with new tools to probe the Creator's personality. In his book, The Creator and the Cosmos, Hugh Ross points out the delicate balance that exists in the building blocks of life in the universe. One of the factors necessary can be explained this way. He said molecular bonding depends on two factors: the strength of the force of electromagnetism and the ratio of the electron mass to the proton mass. If the electromagnetic force were significantly larger, atoms would hang on to electrons so tightly that no sharing of electrons with other atoms would be possible. But if the electromagnetic force were significantly weaker, atoms could not hang on to electrons at all, and again, the sharing of electrons among atoms, which makes molecules possible, would not take place. If more than just a few kinds of molecules are to exist, the electromagnetic force must be more delicately balanced yet. The size and stability of electron orbits around the nucleus of atoms depends on the ratio of the electron mass to the proton mass. Unless this ratio is delicately balanced, the chemical bonding essential for the life chemistry could never take place. Once again, from Hugh Ross's book, The Creator and the Cosmos. Now, what I want you to absolutely see here is that such a delicate balance would not be possible without the existence of an all-powerful and supremely intelligent Creator. It is my hope that these facts that I have presented create a picture of why 6 creative days had to be long periods of time, or as some people have stated, epochs of time. And yes, this is supported by the use of the Hebrew word yom in the original language of the Bible. When we come back in our next session, among the things that we will be discussing It's how the universe is so intricately fine-tuned for life that it is impossible that it would be an accident. Won't you join us for that discussion? And if you would like to receive this information as soon as it is published, then click on the subscribe button and you will be notified as soon as these videos are available. So until the next time, I would like to say thank you for watching and have a great day.